All right, high rollers. Yesterday it was big dog Casey Jarzabek, an absolute online crusher. Today, another successful poker pro who does the majority of his business online as well. And just like the big dog, our guest today is both Canadian and a poker ambassador at the newest online poker site on the market, PPI Poker. He's closing in on $3 million in online earnings. He's won the Canada Cup at the PCA Bahamas in 2013. He's a respected poker coach with tournament poker edge. Danny Noseworthy, our guest today. Danny, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Hey, listen, you're living the dream, right? You're just back from the gym. You've already final tabled at least one event today online. And to balance all of that, you're a proud new father. Congrats, man.
Thank you very much. Very, very happy. In a good spot these days, absolutely.
You're living positive EV. You're in Newfoundland. What's that all about? What's that like being an online pro way down there on the East Coast?
Oh, man, it's the dream. I mean, just the cold, wet, gray winter's day, shoveling your driveway and Bahamas or any of that stuff. I mean, it's the dream,
Hey, I'm wondering, you're at the gym today and you're a proud new father. Has being a dad affected your online poker in any way? I know it's early days, but has your poker playing schedule had to change at all?
Yeah, it has. It's settling in now a bit, but, he came 5 weeks early, so adjusting to that schedule plus my coaching and all that, it was madness there for a little bit, but settling in, and the PPI schedule is actually perfect because it's early morning, so I can play for a 5-hour window while he's pretty much still asleep or just waking up, and yeah, it's great.
How important is fitness in this online poker regimen of yours?
It comes and goes for me, to be honest, and every time I do get into it, it's very, very important, and I can tell the difference. I can play longer sessions, I can play my A game longer. I had a trainer last year before this pregnancy, and I really started getting in shape. Josh Quintana, he was managing my Twitch stream for a bit, and he also does personal training, and he did it online for me, and we had mad results. And then the pregnancy comes around and slipped on the wagon there a little bit. It's definitely important. I mean, especially if you can get to the gym before you play, it's the clarity when you're thinking is unbelievable.
Well, it's just like training, right? All the top guys are doing it, so to keep up, I mean, fitness is part of that too.
It is, absolutely.
Well, listen, no matter what happens in parenthood, however the schedule changes, you got to keep Bahamas on the calendar because you seem to run good there. You took down the Canada Cup in 2013 at the PCA, and then last year you had another pretty nice score at the LAPT Bahamas main event. You finished 15th. You like the sunshine or what?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Hey, if you're in Newfoundland, man, we only get like 1 month to 2 months max of summer, so you gotta embrace it,
Now, I was reading when you won that Canada Cup a few years ago, it got three-handed, a deal was made. That's when the cocktails were ordered by the trayful, I imagine. Everyone's in a good mood. Now, you're from Newfoundland. That's the province of Screech. Did you have the edge there or what? When that booze began to flow, did you shark them?
Of course I did. Are you kidding me? Like, that edge is... I mean, there's a few other places in the world, but these guys, one was, I think he drifted up. I think he's originally from the States, but the other guy's Canadian. But yeah, no one in Canada drinks like us. Come on.
Now, Screech, have you introduced that to some of your friends around the world or some of your online friends? What's that all about? Tell us about Screech real quick if you can.
Yeah, so they have this thing where you become an honorary newfie down on George Street. It's like the most famous street in Newfoundland for bars, and it's got the most bars per capita. It's some crazy statistic, like in Newfoundland or something for the area it's in, like 40 or 50 bars on the same street.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, a couple of the bars offer this thing where you become an honorary newfie, and they get you to do a shot of Screech and kiss the cod, like you actually kiss a codfish. This guy comes out in his rubber boots and his rain suit and stuff, and he goes on talking all Newfoundlandese and all this stuff, and yeah, it's a good time. So, but yeah, I've introduced. Casey actually, one time I was up on his Twitch stream, we were drinking the Screech. It was kind of funny. He had an old bottle in there, and we got into it. So
I'll tell you what, poker pros talk about living the dream. How about a newfie on Screech on a Saturday night after the Leafs win? That's living the dream, man.
Absolutely.
Now listen, I got to ask you one more question about the Bahamas events, the PCA specifically. Safe to say that when you play a tournament like that, the field is made up mainly of online players, tough players, and therefore it's a much tougher than your average field of a live tournament?
It is. It's very tough. And I mean, like, the expenses of the Bahamas are insane. So your average Joe's not really. I mean, some of them might make a vacation out of it, but directly after Christmas, I mean, who has, like, not a lot of people have the money to just go down and pay that, like, $80 for breakfast, you know?
Yeah, that's not the tournament you expect positive EV if you're a recreational player
No,
like me.
definitely not.
All right, listen, your ability to navigate these tough fields online is certainly one of the main factors for you landing this poker ambassadorship at the newest online poker site, unveiled just this week, by the way, PPI It's for non-US citizens. Can you tell us about the platform? I know you like it. I mean, you're at a final table today already.
I absolutely love it. I mean, there's so many cool, unique features that it's so refreshing compared to the other sites. I mean, the tournament schedule is great. It's growing, obviously, but what I've played so far, I'm final tabling loads of stuff, and it's lots of fun. They've got a staking feature. I mean, you can actually buy my action this Sunday, integrate it in the site, like anyone with no fee or whatever. Obviously, there will be markup, but or little to no markup for some guys. Others, you know, they can charge whatever they want. You can actually just click on the button and buy a piece of my action and sweat me. So that's a really cool feature. The software is phenomenal. It's up there with my favorite, to be honest. It's just incredible. I'm very, very impressed and proud.
I know it's got the rabbit hunt. I know it's got the straddle. Those are interesting. I'm curious about the staking. I take it that this is for someone who really doesn't know, really understands where their place is in online poker. Perhaps they're not the greatest player, but they do like to gamble here and there. And this way they can be part of the action, right?
Sure, yeah, it's a way for, obviously, professional poker players. If you're taking a piece of me or Casey, you're going to know that we're going to make money in the long run. So for a guy who's not very confident in his own game, sure, get in on the action. I mean, it's great.
Do you feel any added pressure when people are staking you to play poker tournaments?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. If anything, it's less pressure, I think.
And that comes down to discipline, right? Because when you're playing the amount that you do, you got to stay disciplined to your knowledge, your study, what you know about the game, the certain spots that you pick. You got to stay disciplined to that. And just because maybe you've got less of yourself in the tournament, no reason to play any different.
No, you gotta do your best to think in the moment and each hand at a time. Nothing else really matters.
Okay, so what's refreshing about PPI Poker then? You say it's got some new features for players and that players might like where other sites don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing because they're taking the approach that it's going to be, where the players rule. So your voice actually matters. They're going to listen to people. And when people are becoming satisfied like that, it makes for a better atmosphere to be playing on these events. 35% rake back off the hop, instant rake back. You go play a hand at the cash table and you get raked. You step aside out of the cash game and you get your rake back. It's fantastic. And yeah, I mean, like the software, I can't get enough.
Other pros repping the site include, we mentioned already, Big Dog Casey Jarzabek and Mike Leah, who I'm a big fan of. He's won millions playing poker, an absolute crusher, one of the best in the world. I mean, that's pretty good company. What's your role with PPI going to be? I guess you're going to be kind of interacting with the community, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been around the block for a long time, and I've been consistently grinding online for the past 5 years. Like, up till now, I mean, I've been Supernova and all that for years. Everybody, for the most part, who plays online would know my screen name, Danny13 or whatever. Do a lot of coaching, lots of networking. So, and I'm a grinder. I'm just a grinder, man. So I've been there. I know what players expect from software and from companies. And hopefully my voice can be heard. And I truly believe it will be.
Well, again, the website, very exciting for online poker players. It's PPIpoker.net, PPIpoker.net. Check it out. Watch Danny play, stake him, get in there and play against him, take him down, bust him. PPIpoker.net. Good luck with that, he says. Now listen, yesterday Casey told us about the first ever week of him playing online poker. He won $40K somehow. How did you get involved with poker? What's your climb been? And then if you could break down perhaps your daily grind, like how many tournaments you're playing every kind of day, and how do you approach the position of poker pro?
Yeah, so I started in my parents' basement, the boom days. I hosted games, like $5 games on my pool table. Pretty much every day after school, I got playing cards banned from school. I was kind of addicted to it. Started firing money online. Really took an interest in the Six Max sit and go turbos, and started copycatting what people were doing, reading a bit here and there. April 1st, 2009, I deposited $600 and turned it into 10K two weeks later. I
Wow.
knew really what I was doing, so I kind of caught myself before I lost it all and reached out to Stephen Reynolds, a pro at the time, and he took me under his wing, and he was like, "What are you doing in school in September?" I was like, "Dude, I have no idea. I was going to university and just kind of dabbling, didn't really know what I wanted to do." He's like, "All right, why don't you come down to New Jersey?" I've never met the guy before. He's like, "Live with me." Got in my car, told my girlfriend, told my parents I'm going to try to play poker.
Wow.
Got in the car from Newfoundland, drove by myself, got interrogated at customs. They called my parents, like, "What the hell is this guy doing? He's got a new car. He's going to New Jersey. Like, what is going on here?" And I get down there, and we were playing sit and goes and stuff, and he was in the transition of starting to play MTTs at the time. So I hopped on that train with him, and he taught me face-to-face. And I final tabled like the Sunday second chance for 11K, some other stuff for, I don't know, 7, 8K. And I've never seen this kind of money. I'm 21. I don't know what's going on, you know. And I come home Christmas time, and in April, 5 days before my birthday, I had a trip lined up to Vegas with 8 of my buddies. And they were all over my house planning the Vegas trip. I'm here playing an F-Tops event that day, that Sunday. And I take third for 67K. 5 days before my birthday, going to Vegas with my buddies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice one.
So they were in shock with that. Obviously, we went insane in Vegas. And, yeah, so ever since then, you know, I met the guys from TP, Casey, and Killingbird, and all those guys at the World Series one year through a mutual friend, and they got me on board with that. And from there, you know, it's been teaching, and I got into the coaching, you know, to balance out my life a bit better instead of just grinding all day, every day. You know, coaching gave me a break, but allowed me to stay on top of my game at the same time. And then last year, you know, some years have been a grind, some years have been good. Last year was great. I took 25% of myself in a W coup on Twitter. I sold off 75% of a 1K. Took, I believe it was 6 for 40K in that. So I got like 10K. And then I took half of my action in the 1K turbo the following week, and I took fifth in that for 90K. And then I got a house, engaged, and baby.
Wow.
So yeah, it's I mean, poker's crazy, man. My life's been very interesting to say the least, but it's good, man. It's all finally coming together, I gotta say.
Well, it's hard work too. You mentioned a couple of interesting things there. First of all, who wants it more? You get in your car from Newfoundland, you drive to New Jersey.
Yep, never met the guy, man. Just showed up at his door.
Tell you what, that's a life lesson there. That's called following your dream. The other thing that you mentioned is that you were smart enough to know that you weren't maybe that good at the time and you didn't lose all the money back. Now, I was going to ask you about online poker. It's so tough these days. It feels like to me, a recreational player, that these pros online are waking up. They're eating cornflakes, studying hand histories. They memorize their push fold charts. They're brushing up on everything positive EV. They load the HUD. And then they just play all day, all these tables for profit. I mean, a guy like me really has no chance. But for a guy like you got to keep up, right? You got to realize your deficiencies, stay on top of it, and really check yourself at the door in order to, you know, stay on top of the game.
You do. I mean, if you want to crush, especially the high stakes, if you're not game selecting and you're just swinging, you better have a lot of things in order, unless you want to lose a lot of money. But yeah, I mean, like things like playing your A game and not just rolling out of bed and doing it. You know, you can't really do that anymore, at least in my eyes. You know, you should be getting up, eating. Eating is important. A lot of poker pros don't even eat. You know, they just sit there at the computer, grab some frozen dinner or whatever, and they eat that, and they expect for their brain to be able to process these decisions 12 hours later. It's not going to happen. So, you know, you've got to get up, you've got to do something, you've got to have a pregame routine, and then, you know, you've got to be studying throughout the week, going through your HUD, going through hands, and questioning spots, not just ever being satisfied, always thinking of different options. Could I have played a hand better? Could I have taken a different line versus this player type? Something like that. And, you know, volume's important, but I'd rather play 3 days of my A game than 5 days of my C game.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of that, you coach as well, tournamentpokeredge.com. I'm not looking for free instruction, but can you run us through the instruction process once you've been hired? Like, how does it work? For instance, I come to you and say, listen,
Yep.
I want to improve. I want to make more money. I think I play too tight. I think I have trouble reading my opponent's hand, in the ranges.
Yep.
So what do we do? So take it from there. What would happen?
Yeah, so first of all, like I usually like to have about a 30-minute conversation with the person and figure out, their occupation, what their daily routine is, what their weekly schedule is like, their bankroll they're working with, what any obvious leaks they need to work out, where they think they're at, and what they're doing at the moment, what they want to get out of this. And once you have that figured out, you can discuss with them what I think would work for them in particular. I don't think everybody's the same. I don't think you can just have a set program and people are going to absolutely start crushing the games. That just doesn't happen. Everybody's different, and they learn at different rates as well. So, you need to come up with a reasonable schedule, not only like actual tournament-wise, well, you need to do that too, but, study-wise, days you can play, days you can actually put in the work and not be distracted. Like a lot of people have distraction leaks, like they're watching TV or there's family around and they're just clicking buttons and stuff like that. And then we'll jump into a hand history and see what's going on, if I can spot any outstanding leaks and concepts we need to work on. After that, it varies from live sweats to range construction exercises to ICMizer work and push fold and all that stuff. And it's not only about the hands themselves. It's a lot to do with people's thought process, fixing leaks in their thought process, how they think of situations, the awareness, like stack size awareness at the table, likelihood of something happening based off, HUD stats or how a player has been playing and specific player types. To think about what the other player has. You can't just say, this is how you play a hand, and that's it. Back in the day, you could copycat people. In today's game, you need to be asking yourself, am I setting up double and triple barrels? Am I betting for value here? Am I merging my bets? Am I bluffing? What does my opponent have, and how do I get value out of that? Like, all these questions need to go through your head before you make these decisions. It's just not easy. Like,
wow. I mean, I'm doing none of that, man. I know there's listeners out there that are saying, wow, I had no idea there's so much involved. I mean, you got to stay up because everyone else is doing it, right?
Absolutely.
So if people want to and by the way, Casey yesterday with respect to Tournament Poker Edge, he said, people ask about the cost and they worry about the cost of instruction or of subscribing to a website. They say, you know what? If you learn a couple of tools, that will be no worry once you start playing proper poker.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, like, some people just don't have a network of people to work with. I've been fortunate enough my entire poker career that I've always been in contact with top-level guys that I've been, learning from or can throw a hand at here or there. A lot of people are just like playing poker and they just don't know how to go about learning it. So, yeah, I mean, the prices for a coach or Tournament Poker Edge is not expensive, but hiring a coach one-on-one, yeah, it's a chunk of change up front. But if you really enjoy the game and you want to improve, no matter what skill level, I mean, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Very minimal. At some point, you're going to get your money back. I'd be very, very surprised if you don't.
Yeah, and with the coaching, I guess it's got to be rewarding when you take a student and help them become profitable. And it also helps you stay sharp with your game too, right? Because you keep reintroducing these concepts.
Yes, yeah. It feels really good. Some people work hard, some people don't. The ones that work hard and get there, there's no better feeling. I mean, poker is a game where you're sitting here taking people's money. It's definitely rewarding when you're when you can help someone that really is passionate about the game and loves the game to reach some goals.
Well, if someone wants to hire you, what's the best way of reaching you?
On Twitter at DannyN13. My email, DannyN13pokercoaching@gmail.com. It's a long one, but that's the one. And or Tournament Poker Edge. You can find me.
Absolutely. Danny Noseworthy, newly appointed poker ambassador at PPI Poker.net. That's PPI Poker.net. Newly appointed father, poker instructor, and online soul crusher. Danny, thanks so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it. Good luck in parenthood.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks a lot for having me.